It's my pleasure to just work with you today on one of the most exciting units in grade 10 book, the first semester, which is sports psychology. And in this unit, we're going to briefly talk about sports psychology and then to discuss in depth the grammatical rule available in the unit. So, first of all, what does sports psychology mean or refer to? Excellent. Sports psychology is the activities or the influence of sport activities on those with special needs, people or handicapped people, disabled ones, those people who are around with us and they are part of our daily life, deserve our respect and reverence. So we can express our gratitude to them and our appreciation to their kind of role in our lives by working with them in activities that help them to forget their pain and to value their existence. The idea of having sports for people with special needs started by a military officer who found that some of his soldiers who suffered disabilities or kind of serious injuries during the battles started to lose hope. So he decided to let them forget their pain by having sports competitions, different types of sports. This is in general the main idea of the text here or the theme of the unit. So I'm going to discuss the grammatical rule. At the earliest, we're talking about how to form questions. I'm not going to discuss only, as it has been mentioned, the modal verbs. I'm going to dig a little bit deeper to discuss how to form questions in general. So let's take these sentences. The student writes a story every week, for instance. Okay. And the same sentence, I'm going to change just the verb tense. Here we have the student wrote, the student will write, the student is writing, and the student has written a story every week. When it comes to making questions, the student or the speaker or the speaker or the writer has to define the verb. This is the verb: writes, wrote, will write, is writing, and yeah, because the tense here is supposed to be last week. Okay, and here it is supposed to be next, and this for this one this week, and here for a week. So here has written. Now let me just form the question. First, what I have the present simple tense, so either does or do. Since you have s at the end of the verb, it's going to be does. What does the student Right. And we drop the S every week. Every week. So you take the same, okay, actually making questions is not difficult in English language if you realize the form or a kind of the technique. Okay, here instead of does, it's gonna be did. Why? Because the tense is past. As you noticed, I haven't changed anything in the sentence or in the question, pardon. So all it changed, the change was only does to did. And the same goes here with will. Instead of does, you're going to have will. Is writing, I'm going to have, okay, here we have ing at the end of the verb, so we keep it. So what is the student's writing? Yeah, surely here is going to be next, as it is the sentence, and here to be last. And here is this. So what is the student's writing this week? The student has written a story for a week. How long has the student written a story? Okay, as you have already noticed, all we did that, okay, we just placed the has into the start of the sentence by adding or preceded by how long. Here is going to be the same, okay? In order to have better practice on how to form a verb, to form questions, you are supposed to take a verb like meet. So you might say, my dad meets my uncles every Friday, for instance. My dad, for example, met. My dad is meeting or will meet. Here's gonna be last. And here it's next. My dad is meeting this Friday. My dad has met for instance, 2 times since Friday. So I hope, students, that you just try to generate or form questions for these sentences and to send them via email or on Teams app. This is for grammar. Okay, actually the unit discusses a different, or it just extends the discussion to modal verbs. First, what are the modal verbs? The modal verbs, here we have modal verbs, which are can, could, will, would, may, might, shall, should, must, and ought to. These are called modal verbs because they don't have the present participle, the past participle, or the present participle form of the verb. So, how do we form sentences when we have one of these in the sentence? Let's take an example. They or he can or he could drive the car, or he could drive cars when he was 18 years old. So in order to just ask question when, and then for all the models that you have here, all it takes you is to just place it or start after the question word with the helping or the model verb. So when could he drive cars? When could he drive cars? The answer is going when he was 18 years old. So they should read more carefully to get full mark. If we would like, what should they do? Or this one to get full mark, to get full mark. Yes, and this is for forming questions. And if you have any question, any comment, don't forget to just write for me on Teams. So earlier to that, I would like just have an activity related to making questions. So this is taken from the booklet. So, 1, will you travel to London? So the most suitable or appropriate question is when will you travel to London? Will you spend your summer vacation? Since you're talking about summer vacation, you're supposed to ask about a place. Asking about money, so you're taking how much for such kind of questions. Which model is your car? And if you ask for reason, it's why. So again, if you ask about time, it's when, place, where. Asking about the cost, it's how much. Asking about a kind of preference, it's which. And asking about the reason or cause, it's why.